And welcome back, everybody. Joined now by Congressman Doug Collins of Georgia. He's the ranking member on the House Judiciary Committee and played a key role defending the president during the Democrats' political impeachment. He's also running for Senate. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us here on the Chris Salcedo Show.
Oh, well, great to be here with you, Chris.
Sir, I want to get to the campaign here in a second. But first, Adam Schiff's committee was briefed on Russia's attempted activities in the 2020 election. Some selective details were leaked, of course, because Democrats can't be trusted with classified information. And now it turns out those details that were leaked were not factually based. Your reaction?
I wish I had a reaction that was other than not being shocked. I mean, really, Adam Schiff not telling the truth? I mean, we've never seen it. I'm not sure he can spell truth, much less tell it. So, again, these leaks in the Intel Committee have got to stop. Adam Schiff does not need to be the chairman of the Intel Committee. There's nothing over there that they won't leak selectively to fulfill a political agenda. We saw it when they attacked the president. We saw it when they, looked at it and abused our system so that they can get a political advantage. And now I'm concerned right now they might be using it again to derail the Bernie Sanders campaign, which is becoming more and more takeover of the Democratic Party.
Now, the fake news narrative that is being generated out there by the Democrats and their allies in the basket of biased press is that when Donald Trump was elected in 2016, that was the first time that Russia, or any other country for that matter, ever interfered or attempted to interfere in our elections. Can you, sir, please set the record straight?
And that's just a joke. I mean, Russia has always been an actor. There's been other actors that have tried to interfere with elections, but Russia had been involved before. And look, the problem with the Democratic Party is they can't face the fact that Hillary Clinton didn't know where Wisconsin was. She didn't know how to campaign. She was a terrible candidate. Donald Trump had a message that appealed to America, and that's how he got elected. The issue of interference and the issue of bots and the issue of the social media had been there before. It's just been in different forms. So, to make it up and to say that Donald Trump was elected by Russian interference and that was the only reason, ignores history, ignores facts, and more importantly, ignores the terrible candidate that Hillary Clinton was.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm wondering why the Democrats don't blame 2018's election when they took over the House on Russia interference. I'm curious as to that. But let me get to the abuses of Democrats, those who didn't want Donald Trump to win, those who don't want him to win still, who are still in our government. There was rampant FISA abuse. For those of you folks out there who don't know, the FISA court is the most secretive court in our land, and we have mechanisms in place because a lot of Americans' rights are suspended in the FISA court because of its secretive nature. And Congressman, we're finding out the FISA court was abused. What should be the future of this court? Should it remain with knowing that what we know now, how these abuses occurred?
Well, this is something we need to look at because, remember, let's go back and remember why we had the FISA court to start with. It came out of the abuses in the 60s and 70s with our intelligence communities and our law enforcement community. And then we had a thing called the Church Commission, which actually put forward and said, how do we protect Americans' rights when it comes to these issues of intelligence and surveillance warrants and these secretive kind of courts? This was put in place for a purpose. You did not want the intelligence communities and the law enforcement communities to be unchecked. This is something that does do that. The problem is when you have a politicized Department of Justice, a politicized intelligence agencies under Obama, when you had the politicization of the FBI, then it became a problem again. So I think what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that you don't have any more of this of what we saw on candidate Trump and then President Trump. The Carter Page issue is probably the one that outlines it the most. Those were just founded on a fake dossier. They were founded on evidence that was never actually verified. This is where we've got to go back in and make sure that there has to be a clean process. There has to be something that makes sure that American citizens' rights are protected, and also the fact that we can still go after the bad guys across the world who want to do us harm. So I think it's got to be a balance here. My problem is my chairman is completely and seemingly useless when it comes to wanting to find an answer to how to deal with the FISA court. He would rather ignore it because he don't want to deal with the fact of Carter Page. He doesn't want to deal with the fact of the corrupt cabal of Strzok, Comey, Page, McCabe, and Brennan, and Clapper, and the others. So what we've got to be careful of is not just putting in Band-Aids, but actually fixing the process so that the President Trump and others never have to face this kind of thing again.
No, I concur. And the fact that Americans' rights are being violated and Mr. Nadler and Mr. Schiff want to cover it up simply because they see political advantage in it is disgraceful. Speaking of the Democrats, that party is poised to nominate a socialist to head their ticket come November. What's your reaction to that?
It's amazing how far they've come. I mean, this clown car that's showing up in the Democratic primary right now is just really amazing. And, it just shows how bad, look, if you want to know why the impeachment issue and why the sham impeachment and all the other stuff was going on, it was because they saw what was coming. Democrats like Carville and some of the others are sitting there and seeing the just absolute disaster that's going to come in November against this president. Now, look, we need to take it seriously in the sense of saying, why are people even attracted to this kind of notion? I think this is where conservatives and the president have got to do a good job explaining why a good economy works, why deregulation works, why lifting people up like with criminal justice reform and other things actually help the nation as a whole. But it doesn't surprise me. Most of us have been saying there's been a leftward leaning of the Democratic Party for years. I mean, this election cycle showed two things. People used to make fun of conservatives when they said Democrats want to take your guns away. And then we have Beto O'Rourke. They made fun of us when we said that Democrats wants to be part of a socialist regime, a la Bernie Sanders. So in this past over 18 months to 24 months, we have seen that the Democratic Party has fulfilled what most of us have seen so far of that leftward move of the Democratic Party away from a party that had run from that for years.
Yeah, no kidding. A party that used to be an American party. And I think if you're looking for a culprit as to the reason why Bernie Sanders gets the support that he does, you need look no further than the government-run education system, and that's something Republicans got to pay attention to as well. Congressman, I got to be honest with you, I was aghast when Brian Kemp, the governor of your state, bypassed you to fill Johnny Isaacsen's seat and put in Miss Loeffler, a woman who's a big dollar donor and dubious as far as to who she donates to, not really in the conservative camp, in my opinion. Do you agree with me the Republican Party needs to have higher standards than just money as far as political appointments go?
Well, I do, and I think that's why we're actually seeing what's going on right now, is that when you look at it, I mean, money's not going to buy this election, no matter how much you have or no matter how much influence you wanted to have. This is about an election about ideas, and this is someone who supports the president, like I have, and have a conservative mindset. I'm not a Republican that would go after, as Ms. Loeffler has, who's donated to Mitt Romney. We saw how that works. Gave $1 million while he was running for president and supported him. Actually, we're very good friends, it seems. And then he turns his back on the president. Then we actually see, moving forward, the results of that. So I think what we've got to do is we've got to say, what are we doing? Instead of finding a political checkbox and say, I checked this and I checked this and I checked this, people can go to me. They can go to DougForGeorgia.com and actually see that I've never had to worry about how I feel on pro-life. I've never had to worry about how I feel about the Second Amendment and gun rights. I've never had to figure out what I thought about tax cuts and deregulation. Those were things that were inherent for someone who has been a conservative, who fights the left every day, and not just somebody who says it when it's convenient.
Yeah, I think your governor was not only in violation of the check box kind of thing, he was also in violation of the checkbook kind of thing, is what he gave into. Look, the Freedom Caucus came out today and endorsed you. I think a lot of conservatives around this country are so grateful for the leadership you have shown, and you should be the next senator from Georgia. What did that endorsement mean to you, sir?
It meant a lot. Andy Biggs and I have worked heavily together. I've supported him. He supported us. We've been fighting together against the sham impeachment when it came through the Judiciary Committee. And it also fights back against Washington establishment. Remember, the National Senatorial Committee has came after me with a vengeance. While just a few months ago, they wanted me to be the senator. Now, because they're in incumbent protection mode, they have to basically slander me as being someone who is just selfish and not waiting my turn and all this kind of stuff. And then having groups that attack me, that attack the president, like Club for Growth and others, who are just doing it for whatever reason they want to find to attack me. But Andy Biggs, people we've worked with, conservatives that matter, coming alongside, Mike Huckabee and others, have meant a lot to me, and we're going to continue to take this message. Georgians have responded, and we need more of them to respond because they know that our candidacy is going to win. We're still excited. They spent over $10 million against me so far, and we're still ahead in the polls. That shows you how much the state of Georgia says this pick needs to be with them.
Congressman Collins, you have the support of your liberty-loving Latino here, Chris Salcedo, endorsing you right now, sir, on air. That you are the most conservative choice, I should say, in this election. Sir, I appreciate you being here on the Chris Salcedo Show.
Chris, always good to be with you. I look forward to being back.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing news channel, now in 65 million homes. Get Newsmax TV on all the major cable systems or go to NewsmaxTV.com and click on the Find Newsmax tab to locate us. Remember, Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.